Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, I hope you're all good. This video is brought to you in association with the dudes over at Jam Pedals. Hopefully you're aware of Jam Pedals. They make awesome handmade pedals based out in Greece. I love the brand, I love the sort of playful artwork that they normally go for, and they're really nice guys that I met a couple of years ago at the NAMM show. I know they've been working recently with Mick and Dan on a pedal called the Rattler, I believe. In any case, I've done videos with them in the past on things like the Red Muck, the Warco Plus Wah pedal, which was awesome by the way, and they've sent 3 pedals over for me to try out. I figured the best way to go about doing this video was to grab my trusty custom shop Strat, use the Rev D20 because it's a great pedal platform that's running straight into my Apollo at the minute, and I've set up these 3 pedals that you can see on the close-up camera, and we're just going to blend them together and try out different tones and things like that. So the 3 pedals we've got are the Double Dreamer, which is a type of overdrive tube screamer type combo in one pedal. Then we've got the Waterfall, which is a chorus and a vibe. And then we've got the Delay Llama, which is possibly the best name for a pedal I could possibly ever imagine. And that's your classic analog delay pedal. So the cool thing about having these 3 is obviously we've got our sort of tone pedal, which is going to give us all our distortion and our overdrive. And we're going to mess with the Waterfall, get some really nice classic chorus and vibe tones, and then use the Delay Llama on top to give us a bit of atmosphere and see what kind of cool tones we can get. On top of using the Capital Chambers reverb in the Universal Audio Apollo X8P because it's just so good. So we're going to get some really tasty tones. But before we get stuck in, let's just have a quick overview of the pedals that we're going to be looking at. Right, so the Double Dreamer essentially is 2 pedals in one. On the left hand side you've got the Tube Dreamer, which is Jam's version of a tube screamer. Of course it's their own kind of voicing of a tube screamer, just to be clear on that. They chose to go with 3 diodes for asymmetrical clipping instead of symmetrical, enhancing the responsiveness of the pedal to fretting and picking nuances. Made with a carbon comp resistance, the Tube Dreamer employs a JRC 455 8D chip to deliver its classic sound, just like in the original sought after 808s. So that's the Tube Dreamer, straightforward, volume gain and tone. There is a little toggle switch in the middle, which I'll get onto in a minute. But on the right hand side of the pedal, we've got the Lucy Dreamer. This is a dry wet overdrive, so it's got less of a mid hump in its tone. It's more scooped, but it allows more low end to get through. It's meant to be a more detailed kind of overdrive, really nuanced, so it can really pick apart all the detail in your playing. Very dynamic and creamy and transparent, with a wide gain stage, so we can achieve a lot of tones from lower gain to more of the higher gain stuff. Yeah, basically it's really good for things like chord voices and just that little bit of hair on your cleaner tone, which I'm really excited about. So that's really cool. So as you can see on the close-up cam, we've got 3 foot switches on the bottom. The right hand foot switch controls the Lucy Dreamer, the left controls the Tube Dreamer, and in the middle that is a boost, like a gain boost. And the toggle switch allows us to control what that's applied to. So when you turn the toggle switch to the left, that just applies it to the Tube Dreamer, right to the Lucy Dreamer, and in the middle that applies that gain boost to both. So that's the basic operation of the Double Dreamer. Of course we can stack the gains together, add the boost, so there's plenty of tone that we can use with just the basic operation of this pedal. The more in-depth operation of this pedal, which I would need a switcher for and a multiple amp rig to do it, but I could do that in a future video, is that inside this pedal there are some internal dip switches that can change the routing of the in and out jacks, so you can make them work as send and returns for each overdrive side, basically allowing you to have 2 individually controlled pedals that you can use with a switcher. You need to use TRS jacks for the in and out of the pedal, but essentially what it allows you to do is have one drive on one side and one drive on the other. So if you use a stereo rig or wet dry wet, that kind of thing, you can change the routing using the dip switches and basically control this thing with like a gig rig or an ES8 and apply those effects to wherever you want, which is very, very cool. It's a nice little feature that you don't have to use, but it's there if you need to and you want to. In this application, I'm using it straight into the front of the D20 because I just want to hear the tone of it and stuff like that. So that would be the Double Dreamer. The pedal in the middle, as you can see, is the Waterfall. This is a classic analog chorus / vibe pedal. Apparently it's being used by a lot of really good players like Steve Lukather, John Schofield, people like that. Basically, it's all analog. It's got 2 toggle switches. The first one goes between a chorus and a vibrato, and then the other switch basically adds like a wetter effect. It's more for sort of contemporary sounding effects. You can get some really intense modulated sort of sounds with it. Becomes like, if you imagine it like a sine wave moving between a smooth chorus, becomes a little bit more square edged, so it's a very obvious change in modulation, which is really nice. And I reckon we could probably get some rich three-dimensional tones out of the Waterfall, so excited about that. Last but by certainly no means least is the Delay Llama. It's an awesome name for a pedal. As you can see on the close-up camera, it's got a llama on the front, which is sick. It's a really straightforward layout. You've got time, repeats, and level, so stupidly easy to use. A little bit about the Delay Llama, it says here, is a tone machine that will become an indispensable part of your sound, adding warmth and depth through organic repeats, which seamlessly integrate into your playing. Courtesy of its BBD chips, faithful reproductions of the Panasonic MN3205. Its straightforward traditional 3-knob layout is addressed to delay users who are looking to elegantly enhance their hard-earned tone, similarly to how a tape echo machine would. So that's something I've been told about the Delay Llama, and trying it out before the video, you can totally get that tape echo feedback kind of rich, weird, crazy effect. So I'm going to team this up with the Capital Chambers reverb and also use a tape echo on the UAD stuff, and mess around and get some really nice ambient tones. So that's essentially what Jam sent me. Hopefully that all made sense and it was concise, because at this point I just want to show you the Double Dreamer first, then we'll individually go to the Waterfall and the Delay Llama, but then really it's just about coming up with cool tones. So yeah, using the Fender Strat Custom Shop 55 reissue, D20 amplifier on a clean, running into the Apollo X8P interface. So let's check it out. Okay, let's crack on. I've got Capital Chambers going in from the off just because I want some reverb, and it's a really good sounding reverb. So this is the D20 on a clean with the neck pickup. Sounds really nice. I'm going to start with the Lucy Dreamer. So we've got a little bit more to play with. So as you can see on the close-up, you've got level, gain, tone, and then M, which basically is blend between your dry signal and the sound of the overdrive. So I've got my settings kind of dialed in, how it sounded good before I started the video. So we'll start there. Really transparent tone to it. I've just boosted the gain, as you can see, just to see what kind of range we've got. But to be fair, it's just warm kind of. It has a really nice response, and it's got like that kind of fluffy breakup on the when it rings out and stuff. Like if I go. Yeah, it sounds lovely. So one thing you could do is, if you've got quite a bit of gain going on, you could back off the blend a bit. Yeah, it's great. I like the way it sounds. It's easy to use, and more to the point, it's the feel thing again. Going on about that a lot recently, but it feels really easy to play, so I'm enjoying it. So before we move on to Tube Dreamer, I'm just going to go ahead and show you what happens when you apply the boost to one side. So that toggle switch in the middle, if you're not using the left hand side of the Tube Dreamer, it's not going to affect anything by keeping it in the middle and turning on the center foot switch. That's only if you've got both on at the same time. You want to be more mindful of where that switch is. Of course, if you've got the boost on and the switch is over to the left, you won't hear that. So let me demonstrate. If it's on and you're not using the Tube Dreamer side, you can use the toggle switch in center position or the right position to activate that boost. So as you can hear, there's plenty of gain on tap, but it's a classic kind of gain. It's not high gain in any way. It's a real mid-present, creamy saturation to it. Anyway, so that's the Lucy Dreamer. Great sound, and I can tell already that when we stack it together, we're going to get lots of creamy saturation. Anyway, let's move on to the Tube Dreamer. So this is the guitar straight in. Tube Dreamer. Super glassy, classic Tube Screamer tones by far. Sounds great. It's really, really responsive. It's articulate. You can hear the nuances in the playing, and yeah, like they said, and it sounds really good. So what I'm going to do next is throw on the gain boost on the Tube Dreamer side so we can hear how that sounds. Sounds great. I mean, I really enjoy the way that feels to play. The gain boost is great because it's not, here's the ton of gain to add on top. It's just kind of, it blends it in there really nicely with either side, I felt, and you could just kind of crack on. It just felt like a continuation if you were to carry on turning that gain dial up. So the way that they've blended that particular gain boost with both sides is really, really good. So yeah, let's try it with all three on. Okay, let's try both stacked together. This is the Tube Dreamer. And here comes the Lucid Dreamer on top. So when you dial those two in together to blend, you could really go all out, because we haven't used all the gain yet, and I'm still kind of just blending things just to taste. So what I'm going to do is actually back off some of the gain on the Lucid Dreamer. And let's go in and add the gain boost. Tons of gain on tap there, and again it sits in this very nice mid-present ballpark, which to be fair is what you want as a guitarist. The thing I really like about it overall is that smooth gain feel that it has. Like the response to it, it's a really natural feeling overdrive, but the feel of all of it doesn't matter what I've got going on, whether it's Tube Dreamer, Lucid Dreamer or the boost on top. It's a smooth saturation, if that makes sense. Really, it reminds me in a similar way to like the Revival Drive Compacts. Kind of the top end is really nice, and it just feels really liquid in your hands, which I like. As I said before, using the dip switches and controlling the ins and outs and blending it with different amps and using it as a dual independently operated pedal is very cool. So yeah, I'm digging it. One thing I should probably point out is if we've got all three switches on, I can change where that boost is applied to. So let's just see what happens if we flick the toggle switch in the midst of it all. So interesting, when I switch to the right, to the Lucid Dreamer, you get more mid. And when I switch it to the left, you get a little less output because it's a bit more compressed, but it's a cleaner, more glassy kind of breakup. Okay, so let's move on. That was a double Dreamer. I can't complain with the way that sounds. Fantastic. Didn't expect anything less, but actually the feel and that liquidy smooth saturation that it has, I'm all about it. So yeah, thumbs up from me. So before we move on, I'm just going to get a tone using one side. So let's try the Tube Dreamer. Yeah, that's glassy. I like it. Okay, let's move on to the Waterfall and see how that sounds. At the minute, I've got it set to the vibe mode on the minor, so it's less modulated, so it's more of a subtle thing. The depth is reasonable and the speed is quite low. So let's have a listen. This is without. And with. So you can definitely hear it there. It's really, really subtle, but it's beautifully warm, and yeah, I just love the way that sounds. Immediately I can chill out. It makes me want to chill and play more vibey stuff. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Right, I'm gonna drop off that. Let's go to chorus mode. It's really good. Let's go to more of a pronounced modulation. I'm loving it. I prefer the less pronounced mode, and actually, let's just turn this up a bit. Let's get some spacey chorus. I could sit and play with that for hours. It's awesome. I like vibe. It's like the amount, the subtlety of it. For example, if I turn that all the way up, speed and depth, check this out. And then on the chorus mode. How not to use this pedal. Anyway, vibe, subtle depth. Let's get a bit more speed on it. How about this? Let's drop off the depth a bit. Yeah, I'm digging that. Okay, so lastly, let's try the delay Llama. This is how it sounds. That's definitely analog. So let's test its tape machine kind of feedback kind of vibe. I mean, it really does do that, as you just heard. I don't know if you could see on this camera, but I was pulling faces because I was like, yes, that sounds great. And it's reminded me of when I was in the studio with Tosca doing the album, and Mark Roberts had a Roland Space Echo, and he was doing that, he was cranking it up and getting it to go into that like shrieky feedback, but then messing with it so you can do some really cool sounds. Oh yeah, that's great. I knew I'd like it though, and I love the name. In fact, that one wins for me. Delay Llama. Actually, no, the Waterfall is probably my favourite of the three, just because it really does add something special. So at this point, now that you've heard all three, I just wanted to play some tones. I'm going to mix it in with a tape echo on the Apollo so that I can get double delay going on, and I just want to play with some ideas, basically, to give you an idea of what happens if you get any one of these pedals or all three. But I have to say, the Double Dreamer on this Tube Screamer setting, the Tube Dreamer setting, is just the right kind of breakup that I like. So if I take it off, that's awesome. Okay, let's mess around with some sounds. This sounds incredible. I'm not even going to lie. It's immediately giving me vibes for tunes and all that kind of thing. Well, there you have it. Hopefully John could edit that down into some form of concise presentation of these awesome Jam pedals. Genuinely speaking, I've loved working with Jam in the past. Every time they send a pedal, I'm like curious, because the way they do their artwork, you're like, it just looks so bold and striking. And I'm always intrigued to get stuck into the sound of their pedals, and I've never been let down. I really, really enjoy the Waterfall. I think I'm probably gonna enjoy that on the pedal board, because I need a great chorus vibe pedal that's just easy to use. As far as I'm concerned, the Delay Llama has the best name of any pedal known to man, and it's a great sounding, almost tape echo emulator really, but it's all analog. The Double Dreamer, smooth, saturation, liquid feel, it really, really sounded great with the Strat. That would be what I'd recommend, is using something with a lower output, you know, like a vintage output guitar, into a cleaner amplifier, and then you'll find you get that liquid smooth overdrive. And not only that, the fact that it's, the functionality of it is huge. If you use a switcher and you want to go down that route of the wet, dry, wet, or the stereo rig and use them independently. So I really like that they've taken what feels like, you know, vintage ideas in terms of the tone and vibe of it, but then they've given you modern functionality. I think that's great. As always, thank you to Jam for sending these pedals over. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and the way that the sounds came out. I'd love to know what you think in the comment section below. Make sure you check out Jam pedals if you've not already. They're available at Anderton's and all of the major retailers you can find on the internet. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you all very soon.